Hi, my name's Neil. It's quite loud, isn't it? But anyway. Okay, so my name's Neil. I found a good thing to do in Pecha is to try and alienate about 75% of the audience, so we're going to do that. I don't even know right now, but 6 million people in the world right now are being slightly annoying, so that's what I think about. I've taken the title of the talk and sort of switched it slightly. I hope that's okay. I've gone for sort of politics by design. So a lot's happened in Scotland in the last year, and if I want to try and sum up in 20 seconds, I'll use this slide of the Kingsley mascot being tweeted about by a fake former First Minister, quoting David Cameron saying that he would shite himself. So politically, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff has happened in the last year or so, and I found that sort of to be a bit of a catalyst in some ways to sort of some projects. So this was when I was firmly a no voter, which is true for those people who know me, and when I thought nationality didn't really mean that much. This was an idea for an app where you could assign your own nationality based on what you'd like to be, and then following that, during the referendum, kind of my opinions changed a bit, and sort of had a few things came out of that. I had stickers for yes, top right. The actual stickers were in favour of independence themselves. The actual stickers. There weren't stickers with yes on them, the actual stickers were in favour of independence. This is a project I did with Lizzie Malcolm and Roy Shearer, which was a sign for a referendum cafe that would italicise itself based on polling data. So the more people were sort of in favour of yes, it would go kind of forward italics. If people were in favour of no, it would kind of go backward italics. So anyway, yeah, that's just something to do at the weekend. Yeah, what was really interesting as well was it was a point in time where three aspects of my political life converged. So I protested about stuff, top left, didn't really get anywhere with it. I'd read about politics, top right, and I'd also voted, though I was not actually that excited about voting previously in general elections, and weirdly everything kind of came together during the referendum. And I thought what was interesting about this is it suggests that we maybe have quite close parameters on what our political kind of discussions might be, and I'm kind of really interested in this idea of kind of trying to break down or sort of broaden the parameters of what might be politically acceptable to discuss. So we're kind of dominated by this real world philosophy that is very, very narrow, and there's loads of other stuff. The sort of acid test of this is question time, which is basically like a kind of definition of lots of people talking about very mundane stuff. If you had an interesting idea, imagine yourself presenting it on question time. Imagine how quickly that conversation would be closed down. Okay, so this is a really interesting book as well, because I'm kind of interested then, if we're talking about broadening parameters, what could a designer's role be in that? This is a book by Steve Rushton called Masters of Reality. So who is it that's controlling our idea of the real world? Who is it? It's got a really interesting paragraph in that called Nudge Nudge, which is about the nudge unit of the government, which is staffed by service designers. Okay, right, said it. Okay, so over here we have two essentially, maybe on the surface, quite similar posters. This is from the Conservative Party manifesto. This is fake letterpress. It was done on Photoshop. That isn't. So as designers, maybe we can start to sort of help people see behind some of the tricks and the kind of techniques used. This is Edward Snowden, the laptop that was used to transfer secrets from Edward Snowden to The Guardian. Maybe society is still catching up with design, so Guardian were forced to destroy this laptop, despite the fact that the data had already gone out into the cloud and was everywhere. They were made to stand with a Dremel and drill it by some policemen. So maybe society is completely behind design. We need people like Keller Esterling, a fascinating architect. She's talking about extra statecraft. Actually, what are all these extra governmental agencies that we're kind of having to deal with? Where is the internet? Who governs that? All of this kind of interesting stuff. Marcus Meeson, a really interesting architect, doing a project here based around sort of the archetype of the Houses of Commons as a kind of architectural space. This architectural space is so fucked up. I mean, how could any good political decisions be made in that environment? And maybe in all of this we've got too much design as well. So there's design going on the left there. There's kind of random creativity going on the right there, and it's interesting, I think, just to think about where design sits. Maybe there's too much design. for me, sorry Don, there is about 100 times more design going on in this person who broke into a bus stop and wrote Political Apathy RIP 2014 than there is in the future-gazing sort of Alvin Toffler future possible alternative scenario cone thing in the bottom right. Okay, so the problem is maybe problem solving. So if designers constantly refer to themselves as problem solvers, it's immediately positioning themselves in a reactive role. So if we could maybe think about designers as speculators more, about creators, and about how things can kind of come up from the bottom, that might be an interesting thing to think about, and it does happen. So thinking about speculations, this is a book called 100 and the Book of Scotland by Momus, and it's got like I think 111 different versions of possible future Scotlands in it. The Scotland in which there is no repetition, no two houses are alike, no one has the same name as anyone else, there are no habits. Imagine trying that on Question Time. If we're going to, so it's a really interesting time at the minute, I guess, as a kind of a chance to seize what might be called an active democracy, but that's not going to come about by designers working with government agencies. It's not an either-or situation, but absolutely the active democracy that Scotland needs isn't going to come up through that kind of route. And this was an exhibition that I organised last year about political graphic design, and we had a quote on the wall, and this is Walter Benjamin talking about Bertolt Brecht. He says, "The task of epic theatre, Brecht believes, is not so much to develop action as to represent conditions. But represent does not here signify reproduce in the same sense used by theoreticians of naturalism. Rather, the first point at issue is to uncover those conditions. One could just as well say, make them strange. So maybe the role of the designer is to make reality strange, make people see it in a different light." This is, yeah. This is my favourite spoof of the David Cameron poster from 2010. Probably only web developers will get that one, although it is funny. And this is Govan Hill, where someone has got a stick and some green paint and just written wank, which is my second favourite. Okay, thank you.